Time is 9:29 a.m., May 5th, year 2025. We are recording.
My name is Tanisha Terrazas, Texas CSR 12061. I will be administering the oath and reporting the deposition by oral stenography. Counsel, would you please state your appearances, starting with the plaintiff?
Doug Allison.
Oh, Mark D. Cook for the city.
And I'm John Bell with the Corpus Christi Regional Economic Development Corporation.
All right. Mr. Culbertson, would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony or to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you may put your hand down.
Thank you. Will you state your name, please?
Paul Michael Culbertson.
Okay. And Mr. Culbertson, I know you go by, I guess, your middle name.
Right, Mike.
And do you have a preference that I call you Mike or Mr. Culbertson?
Mike is fine.
Okay. And we're not going to be calling each other by first names a lot, just
Okay.
mostly question and answer. But
Understand.
if I slip into that, thank you. And do you understand that we are here today to take your deposition in a pending case?
Yes, I do.
And I understand that Mr. Bell is your attorney?
Yes.
Okay. And before we get into any of the details of the case, I do want to get some background on you.
Okay.
Where did you go to, let's say, college?
I went to University of Texas.
Okay. And did you graduate from there?
Yes, I did.
And what year?
1979.
And then, I know I reached way back. I'm not going to cover every year.
Okay.
Okay. When did you come to Corpus Christi?
2005.
When you graduated from University of Texas, what was your degree or focus?
Aerospace engineering.
And so, did you graduate with an engineering degree?
Yes.
Did you, when you started, did you do any postgraduate work?
I did not.
Did you go into the workforce?
I joined the Navy.
And how long did you serve in the Navy?
Till 1993, so that'd be 14 years.
Thank you for your service. And in 1993, well, let me ask you this. What did you do for the Navy?
I was a carrier pilot. I flew the A6 Intruder.
And what does that mean you're doing?
That means I was flying off of carriers in attack squadron.
And after you left the Navy, what did you go do?
I went and got my MBA at University of Houston.
And did you graduate from there?
I did.
What year?
1995.
And where did you go after that?
I worked 3 different jobs from 95 to 2005 in Houston, Texas.
And you're doing a good outline for me, and I appreciate that. Go ahead and tell me those 3 jobs, and then it sounds like we're going to come to Corpus.
Okay, I worked for Next Level, which is a computer installation company, for 3 years. And then I worked for a company called Hire Right, like hire the right person, Hire Right. And and they do background checks, but what it was doing was moving everything to the internet. And then I worked for ABB, Asea Brown Boveri. It's a huge multinational company, and I was the controller.
And then it sounds like you came to Corpus Christi.
Yes.
And that was in 2005.
Correct.
And what was it that brought you to Corpus?
My wife wanted to move back here.
Was she from here?
Yes.
And when you first came here, did you have a job lined up, or did you come looking?
I came looking.
And what did you find?
I found a couple. I worked for IRC, which is International Resistive Company, and then I worked for CC Distributors.
How long were you with IRC?
Actually, not very long. Maybe a year. and I got a better offer at CC Distributors, and I moved to them.
And what did you do at IRC?
I was the assistant controller.
And then with CC Distributors, what kind of business is that?
That provides supplies for bases, so Air Force bases, Navy bases around the country.
And what did you do for them?
I was a controller.
And how long were you with CC Distributors?
3 years until
Then where did you go?
2008. Yeah,
Pardon? Until when?
2008, maybe 2009, but
And where did you go after CC Distributors?
Corpus Christi Regional Economic Development Corporation. I started in 2009.
And if we call that CCREDC, that
Yeah.
makes sense?
Yes, sir.
And so you have been with CCREDC from about 2009 until recently.
Correct. And I'm still there.
And you're still there right now?
Yes.
And I thought I heard you announced a retirement maybe?
Yes, but with the search committee and the thing, it'll probably be August before I'm out the door. But yes, we are actively searching for, I've informed the board I want to retire this year.
Okay. When you started with CCREDC, where did you start? What was your role?
My role was Vice President of Compliance and Incentives.
And what does that mean as a practical matter?
That means that I draft and work with local taxing entities on incentive agreements that can be Chapter 380s with the cities, Chapter 381 with the counties, tax abatements, and some state incentives such as Texas Enterprise Zone, Texas Enterprise Fund. And Type A with the city, and now Type B.
And so for how many years were you Vice President of Compliance and doing that job?
Until 2015, so 6 years. Actually, I kept that even though in 2015 I became Chief Operating Officer.
2015?
Correct.
But then you continued in your role as VP of Compliance and Incentives also?
Correct.
And so how long did you continue in your role as VP of Compliance and Incentives?
2021.
And then who did you hand the reins to?
I hired Randy Almaguer, A-L-M-A-G-U-E-R, Almaguer.
And is Randy still in that role?
That's correct.
And I may come back to that, but let's go ahead and get our timeline. In 2015, you became COO.
Yes.
I might guess what that means and what that has you doing, but go ahead and tell me. That's Chief Operating Officer, but tell me what you were doing as a practical matter.
So I was responsible for the execution of everything in the office. So I had worked, so people reported to me and then on to the CEO.
How long were you the COO?
I was made interim CEO in July of 22, and I was made permanent CEO in April of 23.
And how would you describe the job of the CEO?
CEO is responsible for everything to the board for the actions and execution of everything economic development in that office and in the region. And we define the region as the MSA, which is Nueces, San Patricio, and Aransas counties.
Who do you get paid by?
I get paid by Corpus Christi Regional Economic Development Corporation. My salary? Or are you talking about my salary? Or?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Corpus Christi Regional Economic Development Corporation.
Anybody else?
No.
Do you have any responsibilities that are separate and apart from the CCR to the City of Corpus Christi?
So as part of our funding, the city provides $575,000 a year for economic development. We have an agreement with, used to be Type A, now it's Type B, for $125,000, provides staffing for the Type B corporation.
So it's 575 plus 125?
Yes,
And the 125 now comes from Type B?
correct.
And in exchange for that, do you have responsibilities for the city?
Yes, we provide staffing for Type B projects that come to the city. And Type B is a type of sales tax incentive, and so if somebody would like an incentive, they would come here, submit an application, and the application goes through through CCREDC. We take it through our board, per guidelines, through the Type B board, and present it to the city council.
And I know that we're here to talk eventually about
Yes, sir.
the downtown hotel project, whatever we want to call that. What do you refer to that as?
Homewood Suites. Homewood Suites.
And did Homewood Suites run through this type of B process?
That's correct.
And when you say that you provide staffing for Type B projects for the city, what does that mean?
That means we intake applications. We do economic impact reports on it. We present it to the CCREDC Board of Directors for a vote for recommendation to the Type B board. And then we put all the agenda items, requirements for the Type B, and we take it to and we present it to the Type B. And then if that is successful at Type B, then we do the agenda items and present for the city council.
Is there some sort of a written document that lays out that process?
Yes, the Type B guidelines. They're done by Type B and approved by the city council.
And do those Type B guidelines lay out the probably with more specificity, this procedure you're telling me about?
Yes.
I think you had said in your description a moment ago that as CEO, it's your responsibility to, at least one of the responsibilities, is to report to your board of directors.
That's correct.
Who are the current board of directors?
Okay, right now our chairman is Dr. Brian Gully. Our vice chair is Anna Aldridge. Our treasurer is Mark Meyer. Our secretary is Kyle Sharon. He's the plant manager of Valero. And we have one called the BDAC, Business Development Advisory Council. That is Bart Brazelton. We have a San Patricio County representative. That's Commissioner Tom Yardley.
Roadley?
Yardley, just Yard and L-E-Y.
Thank you. Are all of those voting members so far?
Correct.
And I think maybe there's
Oh,
sometimes
we have, I'm sorry, we have like 18 board members.
that are voting?
Yes.
Okay. And you're giving me, it sounds like the officer.
Yes, sir.
And,
Yeah.
and is there a Nueces County representative?
Yes, Judge Connie Scott.
Is there a Aransas County rep?
No. We also have, the city has Mayor Grijardo. Right now, it is Councilman Roland Barrera. We have an opening because Bobby Gonzalez resigned. He was the immediate past chair, but he resigned. We have Dr. Riddy. We have, who's another one? Oh, Chief Rocha. Remember Fire Chief Rocha? And on the port, we have Dr. Gully as a port, and Gabe Guerra with Claybird. And then our investors are Kyle Sharon, Bart Brazelton, Anna Aldridge, I already talked about Kyle. Oh God. Chad Corville. And I think that's it. I think I have one more. Just can't think of his name. But that's it. Okay.
I understand if you
Okay.
missed some, that's okay, and they're
Okay.
probably available online, true?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I want to go back to the Type B guidelines. Are you with me?
Yes.
And we don't have those in front of us today. Are they available online
Yes.
on your website?
No, they should be on the cities. They might be on ours too. I'd have to check.
And walk me through that process, though, with some more detail, if you will.
Okay.
And well, let me do it this way if you want. I think the first thing you said is you all are responsible for, and by you I mean the REDC,
Understand.
that the REDC is responsible for receiving applications.
That's correct. So when we are sent people, or people know that we take applications, we discuss project with them, and they give us an application, and we give them the application to fill out. It's quite lengthy. When they bring it back, things happen. And so what happens is, for example, as soon as we get it, we're required to send it to the city, city manager, one of the assistant city managers, which handles economic development, and the mayor, and that's so they know what's coming. After that, we run through to make sure the application is complete, and we start working economic impact models using a RIMS-2 model, R-I-M-S, and then 2 I's, RIMS-2. There are two different ways to do economic impact. One is RIMS, and one is IMPLAN, I-M-P-L-A-N. And these are accepted, used by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and we go through that.
And I'm going to slow you down for a minute
Okay.
because you're ahead of me just on,
Oh,
definitely
okay.
on something that I don't understand there.
All
Okay,
right.
you being the expert on it, and
No,
not
that's
me.
fine.
Okay, so in order to evaluate the economic impact, it sounds like you run it through 2 models.
No, just one, the RIMS 2.
And how do you, RIM?
RIMS, all caps, and in space, and in capital I, capital I.
And we call it, that looks like RIMS 2 to me, but you called it.
No, RIMS 2.
Okay, RIMS 2. Okay, got it. And, but you said, I thought you said something about a second way.
Yeah, there is a second one that is out there, and it's called Implan, IMPLAN. For example, if you ever heard about Dr. Lee at the university, when they do one, they use that.
Okay, but you guys don't
Correct. I
do that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just like 2 different,
Okay, and RIMS 2, tell me specifically, you say you run it through that. I guess you're doing that because it is a model that probably based on whatever type of business or industry and probably a multitude of factors. This computer software is designed to help you understand the economic impact of that coming to our community.
That is correct. It gives us how much taxes, various taxes will be collected from the project. So those taxes obvious ones, property tax, sales tax, but also by creating jobs, those people buy things, and so we collect those sales tax. If it's a hotel, if it's a destination hotel, then we would look at HOT, which is hotel occupancy tax. And also the building permits, whatever, but those are pretty much a wash.
And all of those are revenue sources.
To the city,
Right.
yes. Or if we do it for the county, it would be, obviously we wouldn't have sales tax for the county.
Okay. So does RIMS 2, other than looking at, I guess, different revenue streams that a proposed project will bring to the city, that's one thing it does.
Yes.
Does it do other things?
No.
Okay. In order to, and I guess the goal is to ultimately, and I'm sure there's give and take on this, but I'm sure the goal is to bring industry or business to the community that has a positive impact.
That's correct.
And so the more revenue generated from the city standpoint and from the economic development perspective, the better.
You're correct.
Okay, and so what are the factors that play into, I mean, how do you rank a project then? What is that, how does that shake out?
We do it by payback and investment return, and return on investment, ROI. So payback means that, say you give $50,000 in incentives, how long would it take for the taxes generated to equal 50,000? And so that's the payback period.
And is it in RIMS 2 or somewhere else that maybe there's some guidelines for an EDC such as yours to rank what are more attractive types of businesses to bring to a community?
We have by the type A, now type B, we've always used a 5-year payback and greater than 12% return on investment. If we have less than that, then we would have to obviously make the case that it's worth it. But if it hits those goals, we are looking for it to hit those goals.
5-year payback and greater than 12% ROI?
Correct. At least 12%, how's that? Say it that way.
Is that in the
In the guidelines?
guideline?
I don't know. We've talked about it before, putting it in the guidelines, but
Okay.
But not all projects go through that. For example, if Del Mar is looking to add a curriculum, I mean, that doesn't really work that way, right? But
That's
for-
education.
Yeah.
It's public.
Right. But for incentives for projects, that's how we do it.
What you're really, probably we should make a distinction between a public project and a private project.
Sure.
Is that fair?
Yes, that's fair.
Okay. But on the private projects, your criteria for supporting it and recommending it is this 5-year payback and greater than 12% ROI.
Correct.
Is there any criteria that along the lines of the types of jobs or numbers of jobs or high-paying jobs that are considered?
RIMS 2 can, by putting in the average salary of the workers, will show that jobs that pay higher are more attractive. But it just works through that.
And what I'm kind of getting the sense and guessing, so I'm going to throw it out there. I'm guessing that at the end of the day, whether the jobs are higher paying or higher quality jobs, when you're putting this different data, that data and different data into RIMS, it all comes out, and those are factors because those are variables you're inputting.
Right.
But it's at the end of the day, you're looking for a result from this computer software.
Correct.
Okay. So you're not sitting there saying, well, I like it, I think it'll be pretty. You're really feeding data into a computer and looking for a result.
Correct.
Okay. And that's how it's supposed to work at EDC.
Right. We have not hit a point where it's like we have to pick between two projects. So
We're hoping for that day.
yeah, if we hit that, then obviously the higher paying jobs would be preferable to us.
And you said something a moment ago then that further piqued my interest, and that is, it sounds like from what you said that one of the factors that influences RIMS 2 is the type of jobs it will create.
Correct.
And
In RIMS 2, in RIMS 2, it'll take a look at the type of job, and it'll determine how many more jobs will be created in the economy. For example, if you're a refinery job, it'll be 8 jobs. So the 1 job that's created, 2 indirect, which are like contractors that are on site, and then there's induced jobs, which is HEB would hire somebody, or somebody who's making $20 an hour 20 hours a week would go to 40 hours.
Okay, and so what I'd like to do is understand what the different data is that is inputted into RIMS. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like type of job is one.
Correct.
Is the pay scale for that job inputted?
Yes.
Is the number of jobs inputted?
Yes.
Is the type of industry inputted?
Yes.
So far, I'm just guessing good.
No,
It's not
that's
that
fine.
it's not that
Yeah.
I know. I'm just trying to think about what things would give influence economic output. Go ahead.
So capital investment, but not only capital investment, when. So when.
When?
For example, if it was a $20 million or say a $100 million project, if you had all the spending in the first year, it would be much better than have the spending over a 3-year construction period.
Makes perfect sense to me. What other variables?
When you bring people on, so you don't bring them on till construction's, the model doesn't assume until the construction's complete. So again, if you finish in the first year, you have people starting year 2 working, and 3 year, starting year 4, people start working.
What other factors do you feed into RIMS 2?
That's it. On location, you have the whole suite of tax rates depending on where you are. Of course, in Corpus, the tax rate's normal. You have, the county, you have county roads, you have hospital district, you have Del Mar, you have a ISD somewhere.
think what you're telling me is location probably doesn't influence the output as much because we live in Corpus, but
Right.
that's still probably one of the things you feed in.
Yes.
Okay. Any other data points that you feed in that you can think of?
No.
Is CCREDC's decision to recommend or not recommend a project directed solely by its economic impact?
Yes. Now, it goes before the board, and the board can decide, but so far it has been the impact.
Has been what?
So far, it has just been determined by the impact.
Well, in other words, it's staff's job to make the recommendation based on impact.
Correct.
And I understand that the board gets to vote on it.
Right. Okay.
So there's this application process, and I understand there's a lengthy application, right?
Yes.
And then there's this effort I'm understanding from our EDC staff that's going to be gathering information probably from the application
Correct.
about the proposed project. Am I right
Correct.
so far?
Yes.
And then putting that into RIMS,
Yes.
and you call it RIMS 2, I think.
Yes, sir.
And does staff get information from sources other than the application typically?
If needed, trying to think of one where we went for something else. For this one, for example, for hotels, it seems like we're dealing with a lot now. We talked to Visit Corpus Christi about hotel occupancy, about Airbnb usage, things like that.
Does that impact the RIMS score?
So if you were say Margaritaville, which is a destination, then we would include hotel occupancy tax because it would go up because of this. If you were just another hotel, in fact, this was the discussion we had with this one. If you're just another hotel and you realize that occupancy is even in good months, 72%, then we would not include hot.
You would not include the hot tax.
Right. And hot can be huge. I mean, it's what, 9%, for whatever. So 9% of your hotel bill has 9% added on. That goes to Corpus Christi.
Okay. And so you're saying that you would factor in, for example, if it's a type of hotel that is a destination,
Correct.
will draw new people here, then that's another positive thing in the equation.
Right.
Is that considered by RIMS 2, or is that something?
Yes.
Okay, so that is another data point.
Right. But we intentionally did not use it for this one.
Okay. Homewood Suites is not a.
Yeah, it's not a destination.
It's
Yeah.
not. It doesn't draw
Yeah.
people. Oh, I want to go stay at a home. I want to go. I want to go stay at a Homewood suite.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And so we're talking about the process. So then you're going to get all the data points, put them into RIMS 2. You're going to get a report.
Correct.
What do we call that report?
Really, it's just the economic impact report.
And let me back up a little bit. Well, let me go ahead and stay where we are for a second.
Okay.
The economic impact report, who gets that?
So right now, Randy runs it, and it comes through me.
Well, let's go ahead and stick just so that we don't have to go
Okay.
back into it. For the time period of the Homewood Suites project, who would be on the distribution list for the economic impact report?
So it would be, so Randy ran it and I received it.
Randy ran it in.
And I received it. So that was it. Eventually, we will present it to our board as part of the presentation, and then the Type B board, and then the city, if that's what it, if we're at that.
If it gets that far.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any of those boards where the chairman or mayor gets it ahead of the board?
No.
So it gets delivered at whichever level you're presenting in conjunction with the presentation?
Correct.
It doesn't go early to anyone else?
No.
Correct?
Correct. That
Put a
is
double
correct.
negative in there.
Yep.
Just fixing
Understand.
it. Okay. And let me back up and ask you about the application. When the application is in progress or completed, who does it get distributed to?
It goes to Randy, myself, and then once we have it, we have a requirement under the guidelines to give it to the city manager, the assistant city manager of economic development, which is now Heather, and the mayor. And we just send them the application and said, we have received this.
And what?
When we send them the application and we said, we have received this application.
Okay. And then in this process, we're talking about after you get the application, after it runs through RIMS 2 and the economic development analysis, is there some sort of a staff meeting to say this is a good one, this is a terrible one? How do you handle that?
Between Randy and I, we talk about it and in preparation for presentation to our board.
But I mean,
We have to present all applications to our board.
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not filtering.
Correct. And in fact, if our board, if we have one that, one of the things we do is when we send it to city, it goes through legal, and legal says if it's eligible for type B. And so it could end there if it's not eligible. Any application that we do not recommend to the type B, we still present to the type B and tell them it was not recommended and here's why. So we can't filter. I mean, we can tell them we don't think it's a good
Wait,
idea.
you present all applications though to the type B board?
Correct.
Not just to your board?
Correct.
So that I would assume means you present all applications to your board and to the type B board?
Yes.
You've told me about sort of the threshold issue from an economic development perspective of what you're looking for. Are there different criteria or guidelines of what type B is looking for?
So under type A, it was pretty simple. It was had to be a manufacturing company, and it had to hit the 12%, at least 12% and 5-year payback. Under type B, there are other things that you can do, so that's how hotels get in. We have gone through the guidelines, and the guidelines are pretty wide open. So because it's allowed under state law. So while the first one was really easy, if manufacturer, we all know what that is. The other ones, start to get.
But is there a written guideline for type B?
Yes.
What do we call that?
The Corpus Christi Type B Corporation Guidelines.
But if I'm understanding you, it's pretty general.
Yes, in that part. On the manufacturing, it's pretty in-depth.
Okay, so on manufacturing, it's more defined,
Correct.
but on some other industries, it's more general.
That's correct.
Are there written guidelines as to hotels for type B?
Not particularly.
Is there, and I kind of went here a little bit, but
There
didn't
was a
quite-
discussion at one point, but I don't know if that got incorporated, but I don't think it did.
Well, was there a discussion about this type of industries, the time we're looking for, and these other ones are generally not big?
No.
Okay. I mean, for example, do hotels rank the same as manufacturing?
For us, no, manufacturing would be more important, but like I said, we've yet to hit a point where we had to pick between projects.
Okay, but there's no ranking of the type of industries that are historically better known for helping with economic development.
RIMS 2 would take care of that because, for example, if you had like I said, a refinery could create 8 jobs, while a restaurant actually will create 0.6 jobs. So it takes care of that in its, when it comes back and spits out, the payback and the return on investment.
Sounds
But
like-
no, we do not, while we have a preference, there is no preference in RIMS. RIMS 2 does not see that. It just takes the investment, jobs, salary, and
RIMS is running a program.
correct.
Okay, but you said we have a preference. Who's we?
We, the EDC.
And what is the EDC's preference?
EDC is manufacturing. But like I said, we have not had a point where we had to decide between 2 projects. In other words, we didn't have enough money.
Say it again?
We didn't have it, there wasn't enough money in type B, for example, to where you had to pick one or the other.
Okay.
So we've not run into that yet.
All the money's spoken for.
No, there's plenty of money left.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It generates something like $4 million a year, every year, and it goes up every year. So.
For example, you just told me about restaurants. What are the parameters that you think of in terms of hotel?
Well, we would like a more of a destination one if we can. Slitterbond comes to mind, Margaritaville, something like that. A 4 or 5 star would be preferable to a 2-star or no star. Obviously, number of jobs has that impact. But if you had a 2-star but had a lot of jobs, you know, it's probably worth it. So.
Okay, so kind of with the hotel, in your mind, you start thinking we'd rather have a destination hotel, we'd
Right.
rather have a 4 or 5 star, right, so far?
Yeah, we'd rather have that, but we just put it into RIMS and see that it hits those numbers.
Right, but you've been doing this a long time, so I'm more to
I
get
have.
the sense that
Oh, okay.
that you know what it has
Yeah.
the smell test you.
Right, it does.
Okay, when it walks in the door and you hear what they're doing, you go, oh, this is what I like about it, this is what I
Yeah.
don't like about it.
All right.
Okay, and so when a hotel walks in the door, you're thinking, my preference would be destination, 4 to 5 star. How many jobs is it going to generate?
Location.
Am I correct so far?
Yes, you are.
And then location?
Right.
I'll
So
add
SPID would be, it's just another hotel.
another shoebox?
All right.
What other factors for you?
Really, that's it. That's it. If they,
How about, for example, you said a restaurant creates 0.6 jobs?
right.
What does that mean?
That means for every job it creates, this is how many jobs it will create. In other words, the reason why it says 0.6 is because very few people are full-time in a restaurant.
Whereas, I think you said industry creates 8.
Yes.
What does a hotel do?
I think it's 1.3.
So it's pretty low.
Yes.
What do we call that, a job factor? I don't know what to call it.
There actually is a technical name for it, and it escapes me.
Said 1.3?
Yes. It's jobs created, for lack of a better term.
What are the positives? You said the preference is manufacturing. Why? What are the things that manufacturing does?
Because manufacturing actually increases the wealth of the region by exporting goods and/or services and bringing money from the outside in. So, for example, I'll give you an easy example. So we live in Portland. When I moved to Portland in 2005, it had 4 restaurants, and then Chili's opened, and one of the old ones closed, and then A1 opened, and one of the old ones closed. All they're doing is just cannibalizing each other. It wasn't until we brought TPCO, Vistalpina, Chenier. Now we have 12 restaurants, and we went from 2 hotels to 11. So that is the difference.
Okay, so manufacturing, for example, creates more jobs, creates higher paying jobs,
Right. And brings money from the outside.
brings wealth to the community.
Right.
Okay. And do you look at hotels as creating higher paying jobs or not?
No.
Do you look at hotels as bringing wealth to the area?
No.
Do you look at hotels as, there's a third one that industry does?
It brings wealth in, it raises taxes, well, tax revenue goes up. Also, somebody with a higher salary has a higher disposable income, and so their sales tax goes up.
And so that's a plus for industry.
Correct.
But hotels don't do that.
No, not really.
Yeah, because most of the staff there are lower paying jobs.
Correct.
I think I've heard a number that at a hotel like Home Suites that there is a specific number assigned or a dollar amount assigned to the average wage that it's going to bring.
That's correct.
And do you remember what it is for Home Suites?
I do not.
Does around $13 sound right per hour?
It seems low.
Okay, but historically hotels bring low paying jobs.
Yes. Which is taken into account by RIMS too.
And all we're doing here is kind of cannibalizing,
Right.
taking apart
Correct.
rims so that we can also talk about
Right.
it. Okay. Any other factors that you can think of as far as how you distinguish a project that is attractive to you all at our EDC versus those that are not attractive?
No.
If you don't mind just waiting for him to get his full question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know it sounds okay, like conversational, but
Yeah.
on the transcript, every time it breaks up his
Okay,
question.
I'm
so
sorry.
it Doesn't look good.
What she really means is that it's embarrassing to me when you know what I'm asking before I. No, I'm just kidding. Makes her job harder. Okay. So I am sure there's a RIMS 2 report. I guess we ought to call it the Economic Development Report for the home suite projects.
That's correct.
And do you remember how it scored?
It was within the 5-year payback and at least 12% for what we recommended.
In other words, for a specific dollar amount.
Correct.
And what was that dollar amount?
For our recommendation was, and I don't know the entire one, but it was $1,043,000.
$1,043,000?
Yes. And there's 3 more numbers on there. So
Can we call it $1 million?
yeah.
And so did you take that to, I guess, first, when you say the recommendation, that's staff's recommendation?
Correct.
And that's after the application and after it gets put through the RIMS 2?
That's correct.
And I guess, obviously, if the number of dollars going in increases, then it's probably not going to meet your 5 years and 12% ROI.
I'll be honest, I don't remember if we ran that at the higher number.
Okay. And you're saying at the higher number because you and I both know eventually $2 million
Right.
was given.
That's correct.
Okay.
That was the ask,
The ask was $1 million.
was 2 million. From the project, it was 2 million.
Fair enough. Who asked?
The project, it was Philip Ramirez and I can see him, but I don't remember him. ZJZ.
Who sat?
I can see him.
About our other hotelier?
Yeah, yeah. The other guy in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bhakta, Kevin. Oh, sorry.
What was it last name?
Bhakta?
And is it Devin?
Devin, yeah, Devin.
And so Devin Bhakta and Philip Ramirez obviously were the ones behind the Home Suites project.
Correct.
And they were the ones who, I guess, were interfacing with our EDC.
Correct.
And they are the ones who had the ask for $2 million for the project.
Correct.
And were those in-person meetings with you?
Correct. And Randy.
Were there any other asks?
No.
And was there discussion, well, let me ask you first, do you remember if on the application there was a reason for the ask?
I don't even know if it's in the application itself. I don't remember if it was actually, the ask was in the application itself.
The reason for the ask?
No, the ask.
Okay, you don't know if the $2 million was in the application?
Correct.
But you remember that that was their verbal ask?
Correct.
And do you remember if the reason for the ask was in the application?
Actually, I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Okay, do you remember if verbally at the application stage, if there was a reason for the ask?
They may have said it, you know, higher cost or whatever, but I don't really remember specifically. I just remember the ask was 2 million.
Do you remember roughly the date of the application?
It was the end of September of 23.
And when did it go in front of the REDC board?
It went in before the end of the year, so it goes in twice. One is a, so we meet monthly. One is a presentation and we just talk about the project. And we go through how we did the analysis, and the board can ask questions at that time so that we will, the next time we bring it forward, the next month, we have all those questions answered.
Sounds like you have a process. You
Correct.
know
Yes.
it. Okay. And do you know, you said the first board meeting would have been by end of year?
Yes. Both board meetings would be by the end of the year.
And I want to say, I'm just trying to give us bookends, I want to say the type B meeting was December of 2023. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, so you would have had to have your...
Actually, it's probably was November, and then we had a December one, but they didn't make a decision. And then it got moved to January. And in January, started the city council.
Right, okay, and I'm kind of telling you that because I'm trying to give us some bookends in time.
I understand.
Okay. And so the first, do you think there were 2 meetings at your REDC board level before it went to type B board?
That's correct.
And so those would have happened...
Well, we kind of do them in, we present to our board, and then we present to the type B board in closed session. And then we vote on it on our board, and then it goes to a vote in type B.
Okay. Are you telling me that your second board meeting at our EDC would maybe be the same day as?
No.
Okay, there's still time in there.
Yeah,
Okay. But do you present at type B in executive session
correct.
on the initial meeting always?
Yes,
And you think you did that on this hotel?
yes.
Okay. So the different meetings that would have occurred, I just want to get arms around that first, is first of all, there'd be that initial REDC meeting where you would get all their questions, present and get all their questions.
Right.
Then then you would have had for this hotel a second meeting where you tried to present or you present to the board and you're trying to answer all the questions from last time and probably still having discussion.
Right.
Do you think for this hotel project that we're here today on, do you think that at the second board meeting for the REDC, did they vote on it?
Yes, they did.
Did they vote at the first one?
No.
Okay. The vote at the the vote at the second REDC meeting, was that the only vote on it at the REDC?
That's correct.
And then it would have been after that vote that it would have been presented to type B.
Correct.
Okay. And in the first type B board presentation, would that have been in closed session for this project?
Correct.
And then this project then would make it, if it did, and it did, would make it then into an open meeting
Correct.
for the type B board.
Yes.
And then if it comes out of there with a recommendation, then it goes to the city.
Correct.
Okay. Now, for the first, okay, and well, let me back up for a minute. Is there anybody else that was presenting, making the application and presenting the project to the REDC other than Devin Bakta and Philip Ramirez?
No.
And so
We present our side of it.
I know it, but they were the face of the
Yes.
project.
All right.
Okay. And
But they're not there during the vote in the following month.
okay, they're not there during the vote?
Correct.
Okay. And that's probably an important distinction because Philip, at the time of this, Philip Ramirez was or was not on our EDC?
He was not.
But he had been.
Yes.
When did Philip, to your recollection, leave the REDC?
22?
So the year before.
Yeah.
Comports with your memory?
Yes.
And what was his past position at the time, right before he left the REDC?
He was actually just a board member. He had been chair and then immediate past chair, but he still had one more year and he was just a board member at that point.
When had Philip Ramirez been the chair for REDC?
That would probably be 2019. And we do by calendar year.
And then past chair in 2020?
Correct.
And then continued as a member for
Yeah.
2021 and 2022?
Yeah, something like that. Yes, sir.
And Devin Bakta, has he ever served on that board?
No, not since I've been there.
So when he was chairman, you were CEO?
No, I was COO.
And then you became CEO. I'm scrolling up for my notes, but I know you know about
Interim in April of in July of 22.
Okay. But I'm sure that, as COO, you still interfaced, I'm sure, frequently with the board members.
Correct.
And so in 2019, 2020, while Philip Ramirez is moving up the ranks, because that's normally how it works.
Yes, sir.
While he's moving up the ranks and then becoming chair, you would have interfaced with them frequently?
No, I see the board once a month.
Okay. Frequently is a bad word. That could mean once a month.
Certainly.
Once a month, but once
Yes.
a month is a better answer. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
If you reach a point, I need to take a break.
Okay. I'll do it quickly.
Yeah, whenever you have a good
Okay.
breaking point.
Before Devin Bokta came in and was part of this application process for this hotel, did you know him?
I knew who he was, yes.
Did enough where you'd say, "Hi, Devin, how are you?"
Or I'd say hi. I don't know if I remember his name, but.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go ahead and take a break for him.
Okay.
10:30 a.m. Record. Time is 10:38 a.m. We're back on the video record.
I think just before the break, we were sort of getting our timeline in terms of
Yes,
when
sir.
it went in front of the our EDC board.
Correct.
And it sounds like that would have been after September, but certainly before December of 2023.
Correct.
Okay. And at the first presentation was a presentation to the REDC board made by staff.
We bring in the project and they make the presentation, and then we talk about economic impact and things like that.
So I think what you're letting me know there is Devin Bokta and Philip Ramirez probably made that presentation.
Correct.
And did Philip Ramirez and Devin Bokta make the second presentation also?
No. The project is not in for the second presentation, for the vote.
Okay. And during the presentation, what the ask was $2 million
Correct.
to the REDC,
Yes.
and the staff's recommendation was $1 million.
Not on that one. Not on the presentation. On the second one where we voted, it was $1 million.
Okay. And that's because the staff had completed their analysis of where it what benefit, cost benefit there was to it,
Right.
to the project.
And that's all we do.
Okay. Is that a public meeting? The first meeting with the REDC, is that a public meeting?
No. We're a 501c6, so we're private.
And so I assume you're familiar, but you know there was a slide presentation that was used with the Type B board meeting.
Yes.
I have that. If you want to refer to it, let me just show you, and it's just for the record, it's the title on the document is QOF presentation.
Make an objection here, or a clarification. Is this in the private meeting or in the open?
That's what I'm going to clarify.
Okay.
I'm gonna show it to him.
I may have an objection if it's in the closed meeting.
Okay. I don't think I'm asking anything that's in a closed meeting, but I'll clarify that.
Okay.
I have a 5-slide presentation.
Yeah.
That's slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, slide 4, and slide 5.
Correct.
Are you
You might
fami-
want to go back to slide 2 so he can see.
Okay. Are you familiar with that presentation?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And was that same slide presentation made at the first meeting with REDC?
No, we don't have that ability, for presentations.
Okay. But you're familiar with this presentation
Yes.
because it was made to the Type B board?
That's correct.
Okay.
I still don't have a clarification. Was that at
I'll
the-
do it. Then the Type B board presentation, when that was made to the Type B board, that was in an open meeting. I have a video,
Yes.
I have a videotape of it.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yeah.
And let me back up. His point may be exactly this. After the project with Philip Ramirez and Devin Bokta kind of gets beyond our EDC, I think you told us that the first meeting with Type B would typically be in executive session.
That's correct.
But the slideshow that I just showed you, those 5 slides, I think you're confirming for me that that presentation was made at an open meeting in front of Type B at a later time.
That's correct.
Okay. And do you know, was the same slideshow used during the closed meeting?
I don't think so. There is not. I do not think so, and because there is not a a video thing there.
Okay. Now, I'm going to switch gears a little bit, separate and apart from the slideshow. I want to ask very specifically if this project, so when I say this project, you know, we're talking about Home
Right.
and Suites.
Yes.
And separate and apart from the slideshow, I want to be very specific about this. On the application, did they ask for $2 million?
No, there's not an ask on the application.
Okay. On the application, did they identify what the money that would be given to them, if any, what it would be used for?
Yes.
And what was the reason or the needed use for the money that was expressed when the project was brought to the EDC?
I don't really remember the text of the thing as opposed to, you know, we want this money for this. It says, this is how much it's going to cost us. And
Well, but it's going to cost us, this is how much it's going to cost us
Right.
to do what?
to construct the building with these amenities or whatever.
That's all that Philip and Devin Bacher told you?
Yes.
Pardon?
Yes.
And that was true until what point in time? When did you see it shift?
I don't remember if it was the presentation at our first one or in between those two that the increased requirements of FEMA came up.
That the increase for FEMA?
Yes.
But you're remembering that the increase for FEMA came in, using your words,
Yeah.
somewhere maybe between the first presentation and the second presentation?
Yes.
For the REDC?
Yes, that's what I believe.
But it was not in the original app.
I do not recall that it is.
And to your recollection, your original encounter with Devin Bacher and Philip Ramirez, it was not in those initial discussions. It came in a little bit later.
Correct.
So it would have been, and I'm still going to try to leave it pretty rough, October or November of 2023, to your recollection, where the ask became tied to a reason, and that was because of FEMA.
Correct.
And in this October 2023, November 2023 timeframe, the reason that they were articulating to you for their ask of $2 million was to address changes in FEMA.
Yes, I would say that's correct.
Changes in the FEMA rules.
Right.
And specifically, changes in the floodplain for FEMA.
Yes.
And it sounds like that discussion was occurring before you saw the slideshow I showed you a moment ago.
Maybe it's at the same time or.
Either
I don't think
same
it
time,
predates.
same time or close in time.
Yes.
So at the same time or about the same time that you're hearing that the $2 million is needed for changes in the flood plan that had been issued for FEMA, it's in that same time frame that you saw the slideshow I just showed you.
Correct.
Okay. We're talking about discussions with Philip Ramirez and Devin Bacta where you learned this information, right?
Correct.
And I'm trying to figure out if it's the three of you talking, or was it really you and Philip, or you and Devin Bacta, or
It's really them and Randy.
by them you mean Philip and Devin and
Yeah,
Randy?
correct.
Were you in the room?
No, I was kept apprised.
Did you at some point in time have direct communications with either Philip or Devin about FEMA?
I'm sure I did, but I can't really recall a specific meeting that we had a meeting and went through it.
To the extent you were not having direct communications with Philip and Devin, it sounds like you were talking to Randy.
Yes.
And what was Randy telling you he had been told by Philip and Devin?
That due to increase in construction costs plus the FEMA requirements, that's what the ask was for.
And by plus the FEMA requirements, you mean the changes they were saying had occurred at FEMA with regard to the floodplain?
Correct.
At the second meeting for the REDC, then did you explain to your board that first of all, that there was a $2 million ask for this project?
I was not at the second meeting. I was out, and it was explained to the board that that there was a $2 million ask.
And was it also, who would have taken lead in your absence?
Bobby Gonzalez was the chair. Was it Bobby? No, it wasn't Bobby.
Well, he's,
It was the one before him. Judith Talavera would have been the
but
chair.
who would have taken the lead for staff?
Randy.
And wouldn't it then fall on Randy then to present the project?
Yes.
And so do you believe he would have said there's a $2 million ask?
Yes.
That would have been protocol.
Yes.
And do you believe that he would have identified the reason for the ask?
I would assume so, yes.
And that would be protocol.
Right.
I mean, the amount of the ask and the reason for the ask are certainly critical terms to be considered.
Understand? Yes.
We agree.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. I mean, the amount matters
Yes.
and reasons matter.
Correct.
Okay. And at this point in time, when we're at the second meeting for the REDC, it sounds to me like there was likely not a slide presentation.
Correct. There was not one.
Whether maybe it'd been developed or not, I don't know. Do you know?
I do not.
Did you ever have conversations with Philip Ramirez about the $2 million ask for the changes in FEMA floodplain?
Besides, that was one of the reasons. No, we didn't have anything else besides that. Or we had because of that.
I'm not sure I understand your answer.
We did not have a specific conversation about the FEMA change. Just that due to the FEMA change.
It's just what?
Due to the FEMA change.
Okay. Due to the FEMA floodplain change.
Right, in downtown, that's why the ask was where it was.
But I mean, you heard those words from Philip Ramirez.
Yes.
Did you also hear those words from Devin Bacta?
I don't remember him. He was,
And after, was that, do you think your first knowledge of the reason for the ask came from Philip Ramirez, or you think you heard it first from Randy and then from Philip?
I think from Randy and then Philip.
But what you heard from Randy and then from Philip, was it consistent, the messaging?
Yes.
And that is that the 2 million ask was for the 2 million,
For increased costs and the change to the FEMA flood map. Because remember, construction costs went up by 40% during COVID, so.
that was a year before this though, right?
Understand.
Okay. I mean, I understand everybody likes to say COVID, but
Yeah,
sometimes it's just, that's the price, right?
understand.
You know I know a little about that. When you heard the words from Philip that the reason for the $2 million ask was for the change in FEMA floodplain, do you think that was before or after the executive session meeting that likely occurred with the Type B board?
It's probably before,
So it would have probably been November 2023?
yeah, or December.
Okay.
Right.
And did you have any conversations with him regarding a presentation that they were making?
Randy did, so. And we really just took their presentation and put it up.
At the Type B board meeting?
Correct.
The open meeting.
The open meeting.
And by we, you mean our EDC?
Yes, sir.
So, did you have a hand in developing the presentation?
No.
I was gathering that. As to your knowledge, the presentation, it even says QOF on it, and that's a reference to their group, right?
Right.
So to your knowledge, the 5-slide presentation I showed you a moment ago was developed by, from your perspective, Philip Ramirez?
From their side. I don't know who exactly, but you know, we did touch it. I mean, you'll see our logo on there.
Okay. Who added your logo?
Randy would have.
Okay. Did Randy make any other modifications to it?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. You know why I'm asking?
Yeah.
Okay. And it wasn't an accusation I was asking?
Understand.
Okay. I mean, to put a bookend on this,
Okay.
I think you and I both know, later in time, it was pointed out that one of the slides in that 5-slide presentation had been falsified or altered, right?
Altered, yes.
Okay. Well, altered in a way that it was no longer conveying the full information that was on the published federal website, right?
I know that a date was missing.
And also the reference number, I think.
Was it? Okay. I do not know that. I just know the date was missing.
Okay.
The date of publication was missing.
And you and I know that became a subject of great criticism.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm putting a bookend on this here because at some point in time, I'm sure you said, hey, who's altering this federal slide, right?
It was when we were in the city council part of it. And by that time, city was handling that part.
Okay, but
Oh,
I mean,
I'm sorry.
I need to once again make, when you're talking about it, is it exec session or open session?
This would have been in the open.
Yeah. Okay, and so I'm just putting a bookend on that for you now because at some point in time, I'm sure you realized, hey, this presentation we're using has been, whether you want to call it altered or changed or falsified, whatever word you want to use, it created a commotion.
Yes, it did.
Okay. And then I'm sure naturally you sort of wanted to, or did say to yourself, hey, what's the deal here? What's going, how did this happen? How did we get into this uncomfortable spot? Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have conversations to learn about why it had been altered or falsified?
I did not.
You never talked to anybody about it?
I talked to Randy about it, but that was it. Just that it had happened.
Who what?
Just that it had happened. Because once it came out of type B, it was a different animal.
Your conversations with Randy relating to the altered or false slide, what were those conversations?
Just what are they talking about? Because I was not making the presentations, Randy was, and so when it came up in city council, that's when I asked him what it was.
And what did he tell you?
He said that a date was missing.
Did you say anything else?
No. That it was on the presentation, but that was it.
Did you ask him, Randy, did you do it?
Yes, I did, and he said no.
It's a pretty natural question.
Yeah, no, I understand.
The next natural one is, do you know who did it?
I do not.
Did you ask him who did it?
No, I did not. I mean, I asked him if he did it, and he said no.
Okay.
He said, I received it like that.
And I think you have had a conversation that tells me if I ask you who did it, then your deductive reasoning was it came from the applicant.
Correct.
Yeah. And I think you told Ajit David that it came from the applicant.
Correct.
Okay. And that's still your belief?
Yes.
And whether it was Philip or Devin or someone else over on the applicant side that actually physically did the falsifying of that slide, you don't know?
Correct. I do not know.
And you've never asked?
Correct. But it was a different animal once it came out of Type B. Type B did not use FEMA as for the increased. So it became moot to me. So
This is where I say object non-responsive, and we'll leave it at that.
uh-oh. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Every now and then lawyers will do something like that and you have permission to ignore it, whether it's me or him or him.
Okay. Fair enough.
Just so I can ask you specifically about it, I'm going to show you the online version of the FEMA federal document. Do you understand what I'm going to show you?
Yes, I do.
And do you see, I think you're familiar with this for sure, do you see the release date of April 13, 2022?
I do.
And do you see the reference number of R6-009?
I do.
And do you see the release date of April 13, 2022?
I do.
And then if I go to the slide that was used, do you see that all three pieces of information are missing?
I do see that they are missing.
Okay. And so, and I wanted to show you that because you've told me that, oh, I just knew about the one date. Mm-hmm. Correct?
Correct.
Did you until right now, know that there were 3 separate alterations or falsifications of the document?
No,
This is the first time you've heard that?
correct. I just thought it was the date.
Are you gonna want to make that an exhibit? Are you gonna want to make that an exhibit?
I'll share it with everybody. I'll make it an exhibit if you want to. I don't, whatever he says, doesn't matter. I'm sure we all have these things.
Correct.
Exhibit. It's an exhibit. That's just.
And did you attend the open meeting at the Type B board meeting?
Yes,
So you were there when Philip Ramirez and Devin Bakta made the open meeting presentation using that slideshow?
I was there. I'm trying to think if they did it or not, or if Randy did it. And the
They
project.
did it.
Yeah, okay.
It's on video.
Oh, okay. So yes, yeah.
Doug, can we take a short break while I fill her in?
Sure. Go off record for 1 second.
Time is 11:06 a.m. We're off the video record. Time is 11:09 a.m. We're back on the video record.
You told us that you were at the open meeting. Excuse me, back up.
Amanda Markham here on behalf of the city.
You told us that you were at the open meeting for the Type B board when the project was presented, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And during that presentation, and we have it on video, but the applicants, I believe it was Ramirez, Philip Ramirez, talked about how they'd reimagine that project in July of 2022. Do you remember that?
Something like that. I do not remember.
You remember that they asked for $2 million?
Yes.
Do you remember that they told the Type B board that the change in FEMA rules is what they were representing, that was one of the reasons for the ask?
Yes.
And that they needed the $2 million, or at least a portion of it, in order to comply with these new, what they call new FEMA requirements.
Yes.
And specifically, they told the Type B board that they had to elevate the first floor of the building 4 feet.
Yes.
And that they were kind of caught by surprise by, it's the way they expressed it, by these new FEMA rules and did not anticipate it, and therefore were making this monetary ask. Do you remember that?
I remember the gist of that, yes.
And I'm not trying to quote them.
Okay.
I have the quotes, but I'm articulating it in a
Understood.
way that I think is proper.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You now know that the floodplain for that piece of property is the same in 2022 and 2023 as it was for a decade and more before, right?
I thought it moved up, actually.
Well, for that piece of property,
Yes.
you think when do you think it changed?
I think it changed with the FEMA rules.
Okay, and how do you think it changed with FEMA?
I think it went from 13 feet to 15 and a half, or 15 feet.
You're talking about the standard changed.
Right.
Okay, but I'm talking about it's always been in the 100-year floodplain, right?
I assume so, yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, Corpus didn't get lower
Right.
or higher.
Yeah, correct. Yes, sir.
So in terms of it being in a floodplain, at the time they bought the property, at the time they reimagined the project, and for decades before that, that piece of property has been in the floodplain, 100-year floodplain for decades, right?
I assume so.
And you,
I did not look up specifically floodplain and stuff.
I'm not saying you went back and did the research.
Okay, all right.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
But I mean, you know that the elevation hadn't changed and the floodplains are basically the same for decades.
That's correct.
Yeah. And that's anything down the hill, we're up on the hill right now,
Right.
anything down the hill is considered in the floodplain.
Correct.
Okay. And that's been true for a long, long, long time.
Yes.
Okay. And that's not any kind of, well, and the FEMA rules, you now know, and I understand that the slideshow, first of all, does not have the dates on it, right?
Correct.
Okay. But you now know those dates are dated back in April of 2022, right?
Yes.
So if he says he being Philip says they reimagined the project in July of 2022, they didn't even imagine a hotel there until after the FEMA rules had already changed, right?
Now, the FEMA rules changed in like October or August, right?
Well,
So
that's when they came into effect, but they
Okay.
were released in April of 2022.
I do now know that, yes.
Okay. And so you now know that it cannot be true that this surprised them on their project because they didn't even reimagine the project until July of 2022.
I can't answer that. I have no idea.
Okay. As an economic development person, when you are looking at investing in a piece of property, I think some of the first questions that always get asked is its insurability, right? You
I don't think so. I don't think so. And the reason why I say that is because there are business risks that businesses take. If they were, for example, in a new place without other buildings, then yes, that would be a question. But downtown has hundreds of buildings, so, and if you want to be downtown, you have to build here. So I think we leave those types of business risk assessments to the project.
To the project, meaning Philip Ramirez and Devin
Yes.
Bachta.
Right.
Okay, so you would expect them to make sure the property's insurable?
Correct.
You would expect them, before they come ask for $2 million, to make sure what the floodplain was for the project?
That's correct.
You would expect them to be keeping up with FEMA rules to make sure that they know they can succeed with the project?
I would assume that.
Well, you would
Yes.
expect them to.
Right.
You
Yes.
you don't just assume, you would expect them to make sure of what the FEMA rules are before they come and ask you for $2 million, wouldn't you?
That's correct.
Okay. Because you're saying you're not taking that risk, you're expecting them to do it.
Correct.
That's their job as the developer? Yes?
Yes.
And their job in Philip's case is being the architect?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sure you're familiar enough to know that architects deal with floodplain on every project.
Yes, here, yes.
Pardon?
Here especially, yes.
Yes. Even more so here.
Yes.
Okay, some places you maybe don't have to deal with it, but here you know it's something you got to check on every project before you put a penny in.
Correct.
Okay. Did you ever have any conversations with Peter Zanoni about the hullabaloo?
We spoke briefly about it. I think the time we spoke about it was actually, he asked about the presentation, and we told him where we got it from and that we hadn't altered it except for put our logo on it, and that they were delaying the February meeting, and that was it.
So you let Peter Zanoni know that the REDC was not responsible for the change in its content
That's correct.
in the slide presentation?
Correct.
In the FEMA slide specifically?
Correct.
Okay. And that is specifically what he was asking you about is, hey, who changed this slide, basically?
Yes.
When did that discussion occur?
It's probably early February of 24. 24. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Early February 24.
And did he offer any information about what they had found in their investigation?
No.
Have you had any other conversations with him about this subject matter other than that one conversation?
No.
He saw you recently, obviously. Y'all all saw each other, I think, at
Oh, yeah. Vietnam.
Yeah, I know you were meeting recently with Peter Zanoni with your deposition coming up. Did that come up at all?
No. That really came up. I did tell him I was getting deposed, and he's like, okay. But no, we meet regularly with the, on water. Obviously, water's a big deal right now, and so that's what we're meeting with.
Do you know if Peter has ever talked to Randy about the hotel issues?
I do not know specifically.
Not while you were present.
Correct.
Have you ever talked to the mayor about it?
No.
If the mayor has indicated that well, let me say it this way. If the mayor is saying that the floodplain, that the FEMA rules had, suddenly changed or recently changed, do you know where she would have gotten that information?
No.
But you now know that's false information.
That they've recently changed? I mean,
Well, the changes were announced back in April
Right.
and
Right.
finalized in October, and then it's
Right.
a year plus later. That's not a recent change. Agreed?
yeah, I agree to the dates.
Okay. Well, and I mean, so if you're going around saying they just changed FEMA rules and that's why we have to have $2 million, that's not really a truthful representation. Fair to say?
Yeah, I'm not going to touch that. I don't know.
You don't know what the truth is?
I don't know. I don't know if you can say that's recent or not recent. I don't know how long it takes to plan one of these. I will agree to the dates,
Well,
obviously.
if they didn't imagine it until July of 2022,
Yeah.
then We know that they should have known it. The architect should
Yes,
have known.
I will say that, yes, they should have known.
Okay, the architect should have known before they even announced the changes.
Yes,
And the architect should have known when the changes were going to come into
effect, yes.
effect before he even imagined the project, apparently, right?
I would assume so, yes.
Okay. And so if you're going around acting like it's this change that we didn't anticipate, that's, whether you want to call it untruthful, disingenuous or untruthful, it's really not, it's not being square.
I'll agree with that.
Okay. And whether you want to call it disingenuous or untruthful or not squared up, not honest, that's the reason that City Council changes in FEMA is the reason that City Council was given for the 2 million ask, right? At first reading.
Yes,
Okay. And I have it in front of me, so I'll be paraphrasing, but if you want to look at it.
no, that's fine.
Okay, you know I'm going to look at the agenda item.
Right.
Okay. And the reason that the developer, Devin, Bacta, Philip Ramirez were given to the city council for the 2 million ask was for, quote, cost associated with FEMA flood zone requirements. Does that sound right?
Yes,
And the other reasons were that the grant request, it said, would be utilized for additional costs associated with newly defined Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, AE flood zone requirements that has added unexpected additional cost of $1,510,000 and change towards the project. Do you remember that being essentially on the agenda?
that's correct.
Okay. And that's really a false reason. Agreed?
It's not entirely, covers everything, no.
Well, it's not entirely true.
Just something like that, yeah.
Okay. Remember in school when they said if it's not entirely true, then you're supposed to check false?
Yes,
Okay, so on that one, we're going to have to check false. Agreed?
agreed.
Okay. So it also says that the Homewood Suites would have to be raised a minimum of 4 feet high on the side, as well as dry flood proofing around the entire first floor. Do you understand that was represented to the City Council?
Yes,
And do you know if they have in fact raised the floor 4 feet?
we're doing compliance, Randy's doing compliance sometime this year.
So I'm going to take that to mean you really don't know.
Yes, I do not know.
Okay. But certainly, it better be true if they're going to represent it
correct.
in order to get $2 million.
Correct,
And I assume you would agree that everything that is being put in front of the City Council when you're asking for $2 million in tax money needs to be 100% true.
that is correct. So what goes into the agreement is what we do compliance on.
Okay, but I mean, you're agreeing me.
Yes,
Okay, you're agreeing with me.
I am.
Okay. And what we're reading on this agenda clearly is not 100% true, right?
Correct,
And that's why a minute ago you agreed we have to check the false box on it.
yes.
Okay. Do you think that it is, by the way, and what we're talking about here, these were the reasons that Philip Ramirez and Devin Bacta were telling the City Council for providing a incentive of $2 million in taxpayer money to their project, right?
Correct.
And like you said earlier, reasons matter.
All right,
Okay? It's important that the reason be correctly stated before anyone ever considers a incentive of $2 million like this.
correct.
Okay. Reasons are a critical part of the evaluation to either support something or not support something.
Correct.
Okay. I mean, if you don't have a good reason, then you probably shouldn't get the money.
All right.
Okay. So I assume you would agree with me that it is 100% in the wrong to have asked for $2 million with reasons that are not correct?
Correct.
Okay. You're agreeing with me. I'm erasing the double negative.
In any time we go through this, people try to put the best face on the project. I appreciate that. Is it patently false? I don't know, but it's certainly, with the dates that we know, it's not 100% accurate.
Well, it doesn't pass the smell test. Do we
Right.
agree?
Correct.
Okay. And, and I'm not faulting anybody for trying to put their best foot
Right.
forward.
Okay.
That's what you're saying, right?
Yes, sir.
But I think we can agree that going to them, knowing the timeline that we know now about FEMA, that going to the city council and asking for the $2 million for the reasons set forth in the agenda item is wrong.
In the first reading, yes.
Okay, and you agree it's wrong to have done that?
Yes.
And I assume you agree it is wrong to have altered a federal document as part of a presentation to get $2 million.
Yes.
I mean, that's not just wrong. Have you had anybody talk to you about that potentially being a crime?
No.
Have you talked to the FBI?
I have not.
You've not been interviewed?
No.
Okay. But we can agree that forging or falsifying or altering a document in order to play into a narrative that it's a recent change when it's not really that recent is a misrepresentation, at least, about the need for the project.
I'll agree.
And you shouldn't get $2 million. I'm trusting in your character here. You should not be asking for or receiving $2 million if you're misrepresenting material information like this on a project.
I would agree.
I know you qualified an answer a little bit earlier by making sure that we're communicating correctly
Yes, sir.
about this being a first reading to the city council.
Correct.
And that's because you know that they substantially and materially changed the wording of the agenda item when it came up, that same ordinance number came up for a second reading.
That's correct.
Okay. And did you get consulted before they made those changes?
Yes.
And who consulted you about that?
Both the city and then as part of that ongoing, the president of the Type B said that our first agenda item in the first reading was not entirely correct, that it was not based on the FEMA part, that it was a project that would help downtown. And that's why they got the $2 million and not because of the FEMA.
That's a conversation you had with the president of the Type B board.
Yes.
And who was that?
Leah Oliveri.
And that conversation, it sounds like, happened sometime between the first reading at the city and the second reading?
That's correct.
And did you talk?
She brought it up after the first reading because she didn't think it was entirely correct, what we had put.
Okay, in other words, that the information, and I'm sure she said it in a very, very nice way, but basically she was conceding or recognizing that the information in the agenda item as for the reason was untrue. Or
Does not properly reflect what Type B said
Okay,
when they passed the measure for $2 million.
okay. Did you talk to anybody else about changes in the agenda or changes about this, about changing the narrative?
Probably, no, I think it was just that. And of course,
said
we
you talked to
worked
somebody at the
through,
city.
we talked through Heather
Okay. You-
Holbert.
Yeah, you said
Yeah.
somebody at cities. Okay.
Right.
Was that Heather?
Yes, that was Heather.
Okay, what were your conversations with Heather about changes, about different reasons behind the ask?
Right.
Or whatever the conversations
Yeah,
were.
that due to the questions from the city council and Leah's input, that we really needed to change the agenda item. So we did.
Okay, so you first had a conversation, it sounds like, with Leah Olivari,
Yes,
and then you had a conversation with Heather
correct.
at the city.
Yes.
And was it just you and Heather, or who all was at that meeting?
Actually, I think it was an email, just me and Heather.
Did you also do any emails with Leah Olivari?
I don't think so. I think our conversation was on the phone.
And it probably goes without saying, but I'll let you know. I'm going to guess we're going to get that email. But, so do your best to recall what you told Heather in the email. Do you think the email, was it prompted by your discussion with Leah Olivari?
I think Leah made the same observation to the city, to Heather, after the first reading.
Okay, but did you call Leah or did Leah call you?
Leah called me.
And she called you for the purpose, it sounds like, of letting you know that the narrative as to the reason for the ask of $2 million needed to be changed.
That's correct.
And you agreed with her.
Yes.
Okay. And the reason it needed to be changed is because of the, whether you will call it a misrepresentation, false, not square, disingenuous, whatever reason you want to put on it, that was the reason for changing it.
No, she said it was because of where it was located. That's why the Type B made their decision. It wasn't based on anything else.
Right. So Leah's point is, hey, we're gonna say it's because of where it's located, and we want a project downtown.
Right.
We don't want to say anymore that it's because of changes, recent changes in FEMA.
Correct.
So you're changing the narrative.
Actually, if you go back to the Type B, that's actually what they said. They said because it was a catalyst for downtown.
And actually, I think all of those things were said in
Oh,
Type
okay.
B.
All right.
In other
So-
words, there was certainly talk about, because the slide was presented, there was certainly talk about changes in FEMA at Type B, and there were changes about, and there was talk about wanting to incentivize a project
Right.
downtown.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But we know that out of those two narratives, you understand those are two different narratives.
Correct.
Out of those two narratives, the narrative that made it into the city council agenda item that got voted on at first reading was the narrative, the false narrative about it being a change in FEMA.
That's correct.
Okay. And Leah was calling saying we need to get rid of the false narrative, and I'm not saying she used that word, but we need to get rid of that false narrative and get a different narrative in there.
That's correct.
Okay. And did you agree with her?
Yes, I did. However, our point, we work on numbers. And so that's really where the first ordinance, the first reading came from, is, we base our stuff on numbers. But yes, when she talked about it and referred back to the Type B, then I understood what she was saying.
Right, but the numbers you were working on was that it met your criteria if the investment was $1,043,000.
If the incentive were $1,043,000, correct.
And that was no longer the incentive, so you're no longer living in your world of numbers.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So now we're living in a different world of politics by the time
Right.
it gets to the city. Right?
Correct.
Okay, it wasn't going forward or not going forward because of the numbers at that point in time, because the numbers it was going forward with at the city
$2 million.
were not, and which is a number you had not recommended.
Correct.
Okay.
Our board had not recommended.
Right. Both.
Yes.
Okay. And so it sounds like after it was a phone discussion with Leah Olivari, or in person?
It's phone.
Okay.
We talk by phone.
And was it after that then that you emailed Heather?
Yes.
Okay. And the place we kind of got sidetracked?
Yeah.
Because I really do. I think I'll probably get your email. And so
That's
I'm
fine.
saying that so that you can do your best. Just articulate as well
Okay.
as you can what you told Heather in the email.
I think there was a discussion that she had talked to Leah also, and that we were going to change the agenda and the agenda item, and we did. So that's really what it was, to better reflect what Type B board had said when they passed it.
And you said discussion. That makes me think you talked on the phone or in person.
No, it was just in the email that just came
Okay.
out.
But it was a back and forth.
I think it came from Heather to that we need that, in discussions with Leah, And then I came back and I said, we'll change it, and we changed it.
So was the email initiated by Heather?
Yes, she was telling us why it was being delayed off of the February agenda.
Did she mention the investigation?
I would have to look at the email.
Okay.
I have it somewhere, but
Okay. You have it with you?
no, I don't.
So I just didn't know if that one.
Oh, these were dates. I was trying to get the dates right.
Okay, fair
So,
enough. You're free to look at your cheat sheet. I don't care.
Okay.
Because I like getting the dates right too.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
Put it in front of you if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need to correct any dates?
Let's see. So we did type B in closed session in October 16th, closed session on November 23rd, and then we did an open session on December 11th, and they directed staff to prepare a $2 million grant, and then it was passed on January 22nd of 24. City Council first reading was February 20th, and then the second reading was not until April. So we were delaying it off of the March, between the first reading and second reading. So
And do you have the dates for the REDC meetings?
we had REDC was introduced September 27th of 23. And, oh no, that's when we received the application. The initial meeting was October 12th of 23, and that was just the introduced, and it was voted on November 9th of 23, and we recommended $1,043,433 to the Type B board.
And do you know why the amount changed from 1 million to 2 million?
We recommended $1,043,000 because with the RIMS 2 model, that's what it came out with. With that kind of investment over this many years, with this many jobs, at this much salary, it came out to $1,043,000, and that's with a 5-year payback and a 12% ROI.
And we agreed a moment ago, and I think you'll still agree, that's the way you all look at it at REDC
Correct.
from a number standpoint, right?
Correct.
And that once it became a $2 million animal, then it's no longer within your realm of the numbers.
Right. So in December, Type B board directed staff, which is us, to prepare a grant for $2 million.
Right. And what I was asking you, because when we said a moment ago, it kind of goes from a numbers to a political
Right.
issue,
Yes.
right? And do you know what the politics were of getting it to 2 million?
Just that it was a great project to incentivize, to kickstart downtown and go forward.
Okay. Was there ever any discussion about different city council members or the mayor's relationship with the applicants?
No.
You're aware of that relationship, right? You know your board's appointed mostly by the city.
So the city appoints 6 of 18. Yes.
6 of 8 what?
18.
Right.
We have 18 board members. The city appoints 6.
Okay.
Yes.
And are they still, back then, were they your largest contributor?
The city provides $700,000, and investors, the companies, they are right at $700,000. So they are certainly the largest.
Yeah, there's
With-
many investors
Right.
that provide that 700. And there's one city that provides 700,000.
That's correct.
So they are far and away, I think, your biggest, largest, and
Single investor. Yes.
largest single investor
Yes, sir.
or contributor.
Yep. However you want to say it. Funder.
Yeah. Can we take about 5 minutes? Let me go over my notes with this gentleman here. I am going to try to wrap up, not beat you up.
Okay.
Okay.
Time is
Done by lunch, that's a wonderful
11:40
thing.
a.m. We're off the video record. Time is 11:57 a.m. We're back on the video record.
Before the break, we were talking about how the narrative changed.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to read you the agenda item at the second meeting.
Okay.
Okay, were you there for that presentation?
Yes, I was. I made the presentation.
And you were there for the first presentation too?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
And on the second presentation, because we talked, well, let me back up. We already talked about how the agenda item read for the city on the first presentation of the
Yes.
ordinance, right?
Correct. Yes.
And you understand I'm about to read you the ordinance as it was presented at the second meeting relating to this project.
Yes, I understand.
And understand it has the same ordinance number,
Yes.
okay? But it reads as follows, the agenda item. Ordinance authorizing an agreement between Type B Corporation and Elevate QOF LLC for a total incentive amount not to exceed $2 million for Homewood Suites by Hilton at the corner of N. Chaparral Street and Lomax Street. Do you understand so far?
Yes.
So far, no change, right?
Correct.
Then it continues, for costs associated with the street level retail public space and outdoor dining area activation, including gray box and finish out, including necessary flood wall and dry flood proofing to allow a consistent street level access, authorizing the expenditure up to $2 million from the Type B unreserved fund balance and amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget to increase expenditures by $2 million. First of all, do you understand what I've read to you?
I do.
And does that sound like what the second?
That sounded like, yes.
Okay. And you realize they were referring to this, they being the city, was treating this like it's a second reading on ordinance 240256, right?
Yes,
But like we discussed earlier, the narrative has completely changed, right?
that's correct.
And so the reason that we're now seeing, and let's just recap, the reason that was put in the first reading for the $2 million was because of these changes in FEMA rules,
Yes,
and now it doesn't even mention that.
correct.
Okay, now it's making it sound like it's cost associated with street level retail, public space, outdoor dining, things that are very, very different, right?
Yes,
And like we said earlier, reasons matter.
yes,
And so in that sense, I mean, and I understand it's still got the number 2 million and who's getting it. That's,
Correct.
that's the same, right?
correct.
But in terms of whether somebody would change their vote on the city council or not, you really don't know because it's an independent, it's a different reason now.
Correct.
Okay. And so, do you see how when you change the reason for the ordinance, you have maybe you'll get more votes, maybe you'll get fewer votes, you don't know.
Correct.
And that's because reasons matter.
Correct.
Okay, and so you understand that the reasons they're supposed to be doing at the city 2 readings on the same ordinance is because the same thing is supposed to be voted on twice, right?
I would agree with that, yes.
You agree?
Yes, I
Okay.
agree.
And here, because of how they've changed the reason behind it, we're not getting really 2 votes on the same thing.
Correct.
Okay. And again, you can't predict if it would get more or less votes because of how it was changed. That's up to each individual council member.
Correct.
Okay. And certainly there had been a lot of, I think I used the word commotion earlier. After the first reading to the city council, there was a lot of commotion about, hey, there's this altered or falsified federal document, right?
Correct.
And so if the second reading on ordinance 240256 had the same wording as the first reading, where it's relying upon an altered federal document, you can't tell us if it would have passed or not.
I could not tell you.
Yeah. Because you don't know how the city council learning about the falsified document being the underlying basis for the ask, you can't tell us how that would affect each council person.
That's correct, I cannot.
Before this Homewood Suites project that we've been talking about received this $2 million in taxpayer money, before that, has there ever been any hotel that received a favorable recommendation from REDC for a grant of $1 million or more?
Schlitterbahn, because it had a hotel attached to it. But besides that, I cannot think of one for type B or A.
Okay. So this would be the only one that was a hotel only.
For type B or A.
And let me rephrase it because I kind of generalize there too. The Homewood Suites, the one that we're talking about
Yes.
in this lawsuit, it would have been the first hotel that's just a hotel. Schlitterbahn's a lot more than that.
Understand? Yes, sir.
It would have been the first hotel that you know of that ever got any type A or type B money.
That's correct.
And was this Homewood Suites one, and I understand the recommendation coming out of our EDC was a million plus
Right.
a little. Was it the first one to ever get our EDC money? First hotel?
In type A or B. We have had tax abatements on, but in type A or B is the very first one.
Yes. And you understand the difference between tax abatement and giving
Right.
them your money.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And since this grant or pledge by the city of the $2 million from type B money, since then to present, has there been another hotel that has gotten this sort of financial support from taxpayer money?
No.
So it's still in the category of one of a kind.
Correct.
And Schlitterbahn, I know you and I are thinking already, Schlitterbahn's very different because it's not just a hotel, it also has the Schlitterbahn facility and it's a destination.
Right.
Do you know of any studies that would indicate that bringing the Homewood Suites Hotel here, the one we're talking about in this case, that bringing it here would in any way increase, serve the purpose, increase tourism or serve the purpose of a destination hotel?
No. There has been none. In fact, we specifically took hot out of the calculation.
For the reasons you explained earlier?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Explain that to me one more time.
We did not believe that a hotel of this nature would increase tourism, be a destination in and of itself. It would just take rooms from other businesses, so we did not add hot in the calculation for the incentive.
And would it not only take rooms from other hotels, but would it also, that's one thing you recognize it would do,
Yes.
but would it also take staff from other hotels?
I don't think we think that way because of our unemployment, sits about 1% above Texas and the U.S. So we believe that they would certainly have enough staffing.
I thought
that could be a result of that.
Yeah.
But we did not look at that specifically.
It's not in your RIMS 2 analysis?
Correct, it is not.
Okay, but I thought you said that with restaurants that one opens and the other one closes?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, this is a scenario, since it's not a destination hotel, Homewood Suites is not a destination hotel. This is a scenario where, since it's not bringing new people to town, it may take away from other hotels.
Correct.
Yeah. And that taken alone would really mean it should not qualify for any incentive like this $2 million. Agreed?
Our recommendation based on RIMS 2 was $1,043,000. That was based on numbers. Anything above that, and that is what we held throughout the entire process.
And anything above that you would not be recommending?
Correct, and we did not.
Right. But when you got in front of City Council, you did recommend the project, didn't you?
Yes, I did. That was a question.
And why? Why would you do that if it's not supported by your analysis?
Because at the time when they were saying that it would help out downtown, then I'm fine with that. I can understand that and
Okay,
go
so-
forward.
In other words, would it be fair to say that falls again then over on the politics side?
Yes.
Okay. So the politics of it were for you to get behind it.
Yes. Yes, it was. No, I understand. I'm with you.
Did you ever have anybody ask you to recommend it?
No, not specifically, might please recommend this, no.
Anything along those lines? Don't
No.
hedge on me.
No, no.
Okay. And another reason, whatever you want to name it or call it, and if you have a name, let me know. But the phenomenon you described earlier, where if one new restaurant opens, one closes, because this is not a destination hotel, it runs the risk of doing that here in Corpus, right?
That's correct.
And that's another reason that there should not be public money spent on it.
It does not help the economics. It does not.
Right. Which, the whole reason you're supposed to be given public money is to help the economics.
That's correct.
And so the fact that it doesn't help, Homewood Suites did not help the economics, that would be a reason to not give them anything.
Nothing. We still have the investment, which adds to the tax base, the sales tax during maintenance and during construction, and the jobs. Now, if it reduces in jobs, but you still have the investment.
I'm going to say this. The phenomenon that you talked about earlier with one restaurant opens
Yes.
and another one closes, it's
Right.
sort of, for lack of a better term, it can't.
Cannibalizes.
I thought you said that maybe
No,
earlier.
we say that word.
Okay. And so this is a scenario with this Homewood Suites because of the factors we've talked about, that it may cannibalize other hotels.
That's correct.
Okay. And that factor taken alone certainly is not a reason to give money to it.
That is certainly something not in its favor.
Yeah. And because it is supposed to be, the money is supposed to be for the purpose of giving an incentive to increase economic development.
That is correct.
And what we're talking about, this cannibalizing effect, is not increasing economic development.
Yes, barring the new investment. Correct.
Okay. And so, because the type B money, and well, let me back up. If REDC is going to get behind it, then you want to spend money on projects that will incentivize those projects coming here.
Correct.
And in this particular Home Suites scenario, it was a hotel at the time they were making the ask for $2 million. It was a hotel project that was already in construction.
No. There is a clause in type B that construction could not have started. I'm not talking about demolition of what was there, but construction could not have started, and we checked with development services, and that was the case.
Okay, so you don't think they had a second story built already, framed out?
No, I don't.
Okay, you're saying it was in demolition phase.
Correct.
Okay, so the project was,
We asked the question of the city, are they in construction? The answer was no.
and who told you no? It's not.
Probably somebody from development services, because we checked for permits and if they've started.
But the permits had already been issued.
It can be as long as construction is not started.
I was going to say, you cannot do demo without permits.
Right. Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
You're correct.
So for sure the demo permits had already been issued, right?
Yes.
And
I
you-
assume so, yes.
And do you know if the construction permits had already been issued or not? You
I do not know.
Okay. And what you were saying, though, is was it you that reached out to the city?
It's probably Randy.
Okay, you just know you got word back from your team that the answer was that there's activity down there, but they're not formally or technically in construction.
That is correct.
Okay, and that was some word that came from the city.
That's correct.
Okay. Do you know, did you know at the time the ask was there for the $2 million, did you know that the project was already committed? Contract signed, money changing hands?
I did not know.
Okay. Because you can understand that it doesn't make sense to give money that's incentive money
Right.
to a project that's already committed.
Correct.
Okay, and so That would be another reason that would cut against giving money to this project if they were already committed.
I agree.
Yeah, they should not qualify for an incentive.
Right.
They're already here.
Yes.
Okay. Is any information about FEMA put into the RIMS 2?
No.
I'm going to read you a transcript of a recorded statement of Peter Zanoni.
Okay.
He says, quote, definitely it was altered. We know he's talking about the document.
Understand.
When you read the entire PowerPoint, it was so obvious that the writer wanted one to believe that the FEMA change was just recently released, and this and that. Do you agree with that statement?
That he said it?
No.
Oh.
I know you don't know if he said it or not. You don't have the tape.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You want me to read it again to you?
Yes, please.
Okay. When you read the entire PowerPoint, it was so obvious that the writer wanted one to believe that the FEMA change was just recently released, and this and that. Do you agree with that?
I would agree.
Continuing to quote, part of it goes back to the narrative. Mike Culbertson said this has to be tied to infrastructure, and then they hatch a scheme, FEMA floodplain. That's infrastructure, fixing the bottom floors. Then they developed a narrative to fit it that they just found out because people would say that shit, they should have known of this a long time ago, like Commissioner Hunter, Councilman Hunter. Sorry.
Councilman, yeah.
Did that happen?
Did,
I'll go. It's a long sentence, and I hate taking things out of
No, no.
context, so
Okay.
I read you the whole thing.
yes,
Now I'm going to center in on the portion of it that I want to ask you about. Fair enough?
fair enough.
Okay. Part of it goes back to the narrative. Mike Culbertson said this has to be tied to the infrastructure, and then they hatch a scheme, FEMA floodplain. Do you agree with that part of it?
I agree that I said it had to be tied to infrastructure. I'm not sure about hatching the scheme, but
And who did you say it had to be tied to infrastructure?
I told both my board, the project, and Type B that it had to be tied to infrastructure.
And what is the reason that it had to be tied to infrastructure?
Because in the Type B guidelines, there is a clause that allows for the reimbursement of infrastructure, and in fact, that's all we've ever done when we looked at projects like this, that it's tied to infrastructure.
And so when would you have made that statement that it had to be tied to infrastructure?
I'm sure I would have said it prior to even to the project, even before it went to our board.
Before the first presentation? or-
Yes,
Pardon?
yes.
So
The first presentation.
before the first presentation to the REDC?
Correct.
Peter goes on to say, then they developed a narrative to fit it that they just found out because people would say that shit, they should have known of this a long time ago, like Councilman Hunter. My question is this. Do you agree that they developed a narrative to fit the infrastructure requirement?
I'll agree that they came to us with the infrastructure,
By they, you're talking about
the project.
Philip and
Yeah, and
Devin.
Debbie, you're correct.
Okay. And was that after you told them it had to fit infrastructure?
I'm sure I probably told them when we first started talking about it. So
So you think the sequence of events is you had some conversation where they want 2 million.
right,
And you're telling them it has to fit infrastructure.
correct.
And then do you think the sequence is, and then they came up with this FEMA plan concept?
I do not know the actual thing, but that sounds like it would fall into place. Yes.
That seems like the likely sequence
Scenario.
of events.
Yes.
And did they ever say to you, hey, we found the infrastructure connection that you said we needed to find, or anything along those lines?
No, they gave us a detail of the infrastructure requirements.
The FEMA.
No, just what their infrastructure would be, and yes, partly based on FEMA.
Okay, so apparently this discussion you're telling me about started a discussion between our EDC and Philip and Devin, where you're trying to say what infrastructure can we pin it to?
Correct.
And part of that discussion was a discussion about FEMA.
Correct.
And the result of that is it ended up that FEMA was really the poster child, the face for why you needed the 2 million.
That's correct.
Okay. And then that obviously led to the falsification of a slide that we've seen in the 5-slide presentation.
I can't say that it directly led to it, but it was after that.
The falsified slide came up after the idea of we need infrastructure came up.
Correct.
Okay. And you were looking for an infrastructure tie-in in order to try to support this $2 million award or million award, whatever amount it was going to end up being.
Correct.
Because you knew you couldn't get behind it without there being some infrastructure tie-in.
Correct.
And you couldn't get type B money in your mind unless there was a infrastructure tie-in.
That's correct.
When you were having those conversations, well, it sounds like these conversations were directly between you and Philip?
They were probably between Philip and Randy, and I was kept apprised.
Okay.
Or it may have happened the very first time we met about it. You know, they came to the office and we talked about it, and I said it has to be tied to infrastructure.
You told that directly to Philip?
That's correct.
Okay. And did you in any way, shape, or form mean or suggest that the need for an infrastructure tie-in justified altering a federal document?
No.
Would you have ever tolerated that?
No.
I mean, you would have screamed bloody murder, I think, at him.
That's correct. I
Okay.
would not have let it go forward.
Pardon?
I would not have let it go forward.
Right. And therefore, they would have never gotten it. Agreed?
Yes, unless they came back with something else.
Unless they found their own new tie-in, which,
Right. Yes.
but now apparently what it morphed into was prettier sidewalks in a dining
Right.
area, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Which did not meet your infrastructure requirement, right?
Correct.
So it would never have gotten out your door with the recommendation.
Or it got out our door with the $1 million recommendation.
Right.
Yes, sir. And that actually wasn't all of infrastructure.
I know there were other things in it too.
Right.
Peter says in the recording, quote, "I am not recommending it." Did you ever have a discussion with Peter about whether he'd recommend it or not?
No.
On April 23rd, this is another statement from Peter, I got screwed on this item and had nothing to do with it from the get-go. Is that true?
That's correct. He didn't. It went through us. And then it went through us and then type B and then the city council.
Okay. But do you agree he got screwed, Peter?
There was bad press in it, certainly.
Then he says, I know what happened and it's too bad people weren't truthful. Do you agree with that?
That he said that?
No, do you agree that it's too bad people weren't truthful? Let me put it to you this way. Earlier, I think you agreed that the way it was presented misrepresented the project and also was false because it's not really truthful?
Correct.
Okay, in that sense, do you agree with him that
It provided a different timeline, right? Because it's recent, but it had actually been out since April of '22. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, you're referring to the date. I mean, there's a reason. It's a pretty obvious reason that they blotted out or redacted or removed the date, right?
Yes.
And that's because they needed it to fit this narrative that it was tied to infrastructure and a recent change in infrastructure, right?
That was the result. I can't tell you what they were thinking when they did it.
Yeah, but it kind of reeks.
Yes.
Doesn't pass the smell test.
I'll agree with that.
Okay. Because, I mean, there's conversations that you're aware of with it needing to fit an infrastructure issue. Help us understand perhaps what someone was thinking when they altered the document.
Okay.
Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. And of course, that's not a good reason to be altering a federal document. Agreed?
Agreed. I need to add more time to mine.
Okay.
Okay.
You did it that quick?
No, it said I can't. I've reached the maximum.
Okay. Well, they don't drive by every minute. Give me just a second here.
All right.
Did you ever talk to Sony about it?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Did you ever talk to Alan Wilson about it?
I mean, we did as part of the board, but we briefed the board.
Did you ever hear that after it came to light that there had been a federal document altered or falsified that he said he would never have supported it?
I did not hear that. No.
Earlier we talked and you told me that you did tell Ajit that you had not altered it and that REDC had not altered it and that it was the applicant. Do you remember that?
Yes.
After that, did you call Peter?
I don't remember that. I'm not saying I didn't. I don't remember.
Okay. That's all I have for you. Wait. Huh?
Okay.
Nothing further, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Time is,
One second, before we go off the record, I just need to get clarification on the exhibits. Are we gonna be?
I won't do any exhibits. I'll share anything I have. That's all same stuff we all have.
And then-
But I will start getting a notebook together for future.
And then copy orders on the record. Let's see. Mr. Bell, were you gonna want to purchase a copy of the transcript?
No.
Okay. And then Miss Markham?
Not at this time.
Okay. We're good.
All right.
time is 12:27 p.m. We're off the video.